Wajibanda ndo pimbira, pimbira, wajibanda ndo pimbira, wajibanda ndo pimbira, wajibanda ndo pimbira.
Welcome to Healing Through Stories with me, Dixon Chibanda, where I will be sharing stories from the friendship bench and beyond. I am a psychiatrist, and for the last 15, 20 years, I've spent most of my professional life focusing on work around the friendship bench and bringing this model to different communities and cultures across the world. I will be taking you on a journey where we will immerse ourselves in the stories from different parts of the world because we want to reflect the power of stories and how they bring about collective healing. Today, I would like to share the early stories and experiences of running Friendship Bench. A constant struggle between two or more opposing forces, ways of thinking, that has been the journey of the Friendship Bench since its inception. With that struggle comes the need for balance, or that delicate balance between the opposing forces. Equipoise is a good term to describe opposing forces that we constantly are having to deal with in the journey of Friendship Bench as we introduce it in new settings, different diverse cultures. But equipoise is not a linear process. At the best of times, it is characterized by chaos. For instance, how do you achieve equipoise between African values which are rooted in indigenous wisdom and ways of navigating the world and our spiritual spaces against Western models of care, which are traditionally believed to be the gold standard? When I started Friendship Bench with the first 14 grandmothers, it did not occur to me that this struggle between opposing forces would be the characteristic feature of the journey. Back then, I was simply responding to a personal tragedy, the loss of a patient of mine to suicide. Erica was her name. Erica was 26 years old when she took her own life. She had been under my care for just over 2 years. It was a heartbreaking period, but I will not go into the details of Erica's story. If anyone is interested in knowing more about Erica's story, please watch my TED Talk, which is entitled Why I Train Grandmothers to Treat Depression. For now, I want to go back to the first 14 grandmothers. Deep wisdom is not necessarily associated with one's level of education. The first 14 grandmothers that I started Friendship Bench with had minimal education. The first lesson I picked up from them around equipoise was to do with the name of the project. Being a psychiatrist who is trained in Western ways of thinking and navigating the mental health space, the natural term for the bench and the project that came to my mind was the mental health bench. So if you can imagine a sign which says mental health bench right here behind me. Unfortunately, no one wanted to sit on a mental health bench. After a while, the 14 grandmothers took me aside and said, we need to change the name. And they suggested benji reushamwari, which literally means the friendship bench. I was skeptical, but I was outnumbered. So I gave in. And the name was changed to Friendship Bench. And after we changed the name, everyone wanted to sit on a friendship bench. That was the first big lesson. The names we ascribe to things can make or break those things. The second lesson around balance or equipoise is around the transfer of knowledge that we take for granted to be the gold standard in the mental health space. Being trained as a psychiatrist, in brief, what I do is identify symptoms. After identifying symptoms, you come up with a diagnosis. From the diagnosis, you come up with a treatment plan. And this was the model which I wanted to adopt for Friendship Bench. And the grandmothers were like, no, we need instead to focus on the story and how it connects people and how that connection creates a sense of belonging. To cut a long story short, when you sit on a friendship bench with one of our grandmothers, the first thing they will say to you is, would you like to share your story with me? Now, that is not to say the clinical symptoms, the diagnosis, and the treatment plan has no place in the work that we do at Friendship Bench. It has a place, but it never, ever overshadows the story, because human beings connect through stories. And when we create those connections and a sense of belonging, we are creating a collective, community, cohesive healing system. If you can lean into stories and connect people and create a sense of belonging, you will be contributing towards addressing one of the world's greatest challenges today, the epidemic of loneliness. Next stop, join me as I speak to some of the grandmothers who are part of the original 14. They will be sharing their stories. Hopefully, you can be inspired about their personal journeys, and it will contribute to your own personal healing and collective community healing.
Hey!